On my way home in the evening, I was followed. A middle-aged man with an iron chain entered the lift with me. Terrified and on the verge of tears, I frantically texted my boyfriend, begging him to call me. My messages seemed to vanish into thin air, but the man spoke briefly. "Don't worry, my husky doesn't bite." We both froze after he said that. "Blimey, where's my dog?" he exclaimed. The man darted out of the lift to find his dog, leaving me alone, doubled over with laughter. I texted my friend about the absurd situation while exiting the lift, when I noticed something at my feet. How did my dog get out on its own? Unbelievable. Without much thought, I casually picked up the husky and brought it into my flat. The husky went wild, dashing into the bedroom for a parkour session as soon as I let go. While I was changing my glasses, it charged towards the glass door in the kitchen. A loud crash startled both of us. Then, whimpering sounds came from the bedroom, and another identical husky emerged. We were all bewildered. "Winifred?" I called out my dog's name, and both huskies barked loudly. In perfect unison, as if copy-pasted. Suddenly remembering the man who'd lost his dog, I rushed to find him. He was equally confused upon seeing the two dogs. "Aubrey?" he called. Both huskies barked again. The man rolled up his sleeves and chuckled. "Easy enough, my boy only has one testicle." Unfortunately, my Winifred was the same. Undeterred, he tried again. "Mine just had its nails clipped." As luck would have it, so did my Winifred. We spent ages trying every trick in the book, but couldn't tell the dogs apart. The dogs, exhausted, fell asleep on the floor while we sat there, out of breath. A light bulb moment hit me, and I suggested, what if we find a border collie to help us sort this out? The next day, we went to the Royal Veterinary Hospital. When the two dogs were given injections, they howled and scampered around the room, as if they were carbon copies of each other. The vet said that huskies have small brains, and one might just be mimicking the other's behavior. If blood tests can't determine anything, you might want to consult a dog trainer, he suggested. While waiting for the results, Bertram said the dogs couldn't stay at my place for now. "I've been working late shifts, getting home in the wee hours. I lost them while walking them yesterday. I'm afraid I might make another mistake if I'm not fully alert," he explained. I held out my hand to him. "Then you should pay half the food expenses." Bertram looked startled for a moment, then slipped a card into my hand. "It's my son's allowance." He thought for a second and, realizing it sounded odd, added, "I mean, our son's allowance." Realizing that sounded even stranger, he finally said, "You're looking after both of them. It's a lot of work. Use this card for all their expenses." A young nurse walked past us with a bemused expression on her face. I felt my cheeks flush as I tucked the card into my pocket. "I'll give you an itemized list of expenses when I use your card." As we were talking, a small Yorkshire Terrier suddenly bounded up and began enthusiastically rubbing against Bertram's trousers. Bertram looked quite dashing when he dressed up properly. His long legs were accentuated by his well-fitted shirt, and his slightly curly hair was tied back with a band, revealing his chiseled features and deep-set eyes. "Mabel, you mustn't jump on people like that," came a voice. "I'm so sorry, I didn't see your dog there, Bertram. What a surprise to run into you here." The owner of the Yorkshire Terrier, a curvaceous beauty, sauntered over unhurriedly. She tossed her long, wavy hair, clearly manufacturing a chance encounter. The woman linked her arm through his, her face a picture of possessiveness. "Look at you, your tie clips all ask you without me around. Who's this young lady?" "Your niece, perhaps?" Bertram irritably extracted his arm, his voice stern. "We've been apart for ages, show some decorum." "I'm only 33, hardly old enough to have a niece her age, am I?" "Oh, I was just complimenting the young lady on her youthful appearance. Look at her style, I'm quite envious." "It's all beyond me, really." The cattiness was palpable. Was she taking a dig at me? I decided not to mince words. "Allow me to introduce myself, then. I'm not his niece. He may have 2 sons, and I'm the mother of one of them." The ex-girlfriend's face turned green with anger as she stormed off, clutching her poodle. Bertram Chaplin gave me a discreet thumbs up and sent me £20 on WhatsApp with a message. "Well said, mate. I'll add 5 tins of dog food. A reward for my 2 lads." Bertram's profile picture was of Lego. Before I could take a proper look, I noticed a Facebook update and clicked on it instinctively. Meredith had posted a photo of a stray kitten, its clothes half-soaked, looking utterly pitiful. My boyfriend liked it instantly and commented, "Careful you don't catch a cold." I opened my chat with him. On Friday evening, I'd asked if his lunch from Pret was tasty. On Saturday night, I told him I'd been followed in the lift and asked if he could call me because I was scared. This morning, I asked if his weekend at home went well and if he could get me a coffee for my first day back at work tomorrow. He hadn't replied to any of it, but he'd liked his ex's Facebook post in a second. He probably didn't know that Meredith and I had added each other as friends 4 years ago during University Freshers Week. We'd never spoken, just sitting there in each other's friend lists. I knew who she was, but she probably didn't remember me. A moment later, Meredith posted again. In the picture, she said she fancied some Cullen skink. My boyfriend immediately replied sure. She wanted to go to a concert, and he instantly got tickets. The caption read, "You're my most compatible partner, it's a shame she's more suited for a relationship." My boyfriend was full of praise. So every time he was absent with me, he was with her. "Hey, why are you crying? You're the first to sit in my passenger seat," I said quietly. "The dog I've had for over a year, it just won't learn." I choked up halfway through, not knowing how to curse my boyfriend. Looking in the rearview mirror, I changed the subject. "I'm crying because of the money. Your husky Hope has torn up your back seat. How much is that going to cost to fix?" The two dogs were having a grand time in the back, and I could already see bits of the expensive leather upholstery in shreds. Since the blood test results couldn't distinguish between the two dogs, Mr. Chaplin didn't make me pay. In the end, we each reduced their food by half a bowl. We agreed to meet with a dog trainer next week to consider options. The two were whimpering with hunger all night, keeping me awake. In truth, I felt sad about having pets mainly for the sake of my relationship. Such a cat isn't worth wasting any more time on. Giles and I studied the same subject at university. After graduation, we both received offers from a major company and became new hires in the same department. How excited I was about such a coincidence back then, but now. "Elsie, I was too busy at home over the weekend to reply to your messages. I was worried. Were you all right on Saturday night?" "I was concerned about your safety," Giles said, following me into the lift. I smiled faintly but didn't respond. "Anyway, what about lunch? Have you prepared it?" "I'm looking forward to it," Giles said affectionately, ruffling my hair. With a blank expression, I replied, "I had your favorite jellied eels, asparagus, and mushrooms." But the husky knocked it over, and the dogs ate it all. Giles Beaverbrook paused for a moment, then smiled, not taking it to heart. Our department was busy, and on the first day of work, we were each assigned projects to close. Although we were supposed to finish at 7 p.m., Giles came to the break room to find me at 4 p.m. He said he had something to do at home in the evening and wanted to leave early, but his work couldn't be finished by me. I smiled, knowing he had snagged concert tickets for Meredith tonight. Just as I was about to scold him, we unexpectedly ran into our neighbor coming to the break room for coffee. What was he doing here? I held back all my sarcastic comments, my eyes reddening slightly as I lowered my head without a word. The older gentleman passed by me, saying quietly, "Young lovers, talk it out nicely, don't quarrel." Giles smiled, put his arm around me, and exchanged pleasantries. "My girlfriend's in a mood, I'll sort it out." The neighbor seemed to recall something, smirking as he left. Around 5 p.m., we met the SVP of the UK division, who turned out to be our neighbor. No wonder he had never asked for my name since we first met. He already knew me. The SVP strongly disapproved of Giles taking time off, and when his gaze fell on me, it was full of innuendo as he said, "You should head home. You were too tired last night, looking after those two huskies." Giles looked at us both in great surprise, thinking he must have misheard. I suddenly caught on and said with a faint smile, "I was quite tired last night, I'll head home first." Giles Beaverbrook looked at me in surprise. What, was he allowed to emotionally cheat with his ex-girlfriend? I was tired of his tactics. Just as I finished packing my things, the residents' WhatsApp group suddenly exploded with messages. Someone had posted a video of a robot vacuum cleaner that had escaped from someone's home and was wandering around the neighborhood. It had a mini skirt draped over its top. I was about to send a string of ha 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 when I suddenly realized something wasn't right. That looked like my skirt. Who had let it out? Only the Huskies were left at home, weren't they? I glanced up to see Bertram walking out of his office, giving me an anxious look. On his phone was a video from the property management. 2 Huskies were frantically scratching at his front door, with my underwear on their heads. The property manager humbly asked Bertram if he could come back to deal with the situation. "Mr. Chaplin, are you going?" "What about tonight's project meeting?" "There's an emergency at home, I need to handle it," Bertram replied. Giles tried to stop me, but I pushed past him. "I have an urgent matter at home, I need to go." "Excuse me. Let me drive you, my car." Bertram looked back at me. "I'll take her. You go back to work." I imagined Giles must have been fuming, his face turning green with anger. On my way home, Giles Beaverbrook frantically sent me 3 or 4 WhatsApp messages. "What's your relationship with Mr. Chaplin? How does Mr. Chaplin know where you live? Are you living together?" I sneered silently, not bothering to reply to any of them. Let him have a taste of what it feels like when someone doesn't respond to messages. Just as the car pulled into the estate, I quickly grabbed the robotic vacuum cleaner. Mr. Chaplin chuckled softly, "Nice dress. Judging by your technique, you must have plenty of practice with Winifred," he remarked. I blushed and mumbled, "Now I know how to tell the 2 dogs apart." My Mabel can open doors. Upstairs, the property management had temporarily provided some sausages. The 2 dogs were contentedly gnawing on them outside the door, a picture of tranquility. If only my underwear wasn't still tangled around their heads. I leapt up, rushing to grab the dogs, chasing them as they darted around the corridor. Thankfully, Mr. Chaplin was the only resident on the entire floor. Just as Mr. Chaplin had seen off the property manager, Winifred gave a vigorous shake, and my underwear flew off, landing squarely on his head. At that moment, the world fell silent. I'm not sure what came over me, but I let out a wail like a dog and burst into tears. It was utterly mortifying. Mr. Chaplin remained perfectly composed, adjusting his tie. With his left hand, he neatly folded the underwear and handed it back to me. His right hand gripped Winifred by the scruff. When a child misbehaves, a little discipline is in order. Then he gave me a cool, detached look before dragging the dog into his flat. Giles Beaverbrook's WhatsApp call came through. "Elsie, you and Mr. Chaplin. Elsie Harmsworth, come and collect your son." "He's the one responsible," Mr. Chaplin's voice echoed in the background. Giles grew frantic. "What's going on? Are you and Mr. Chaplin living together?" Beside me, Aubrey was whining and spinning, rubbing against my leg in a manner eerily reminiscent of a child's cry. "You even have children together?" "I don't have time to explain. I'm busy, disciplining my son," I retorted. That evening, Meredith Gower posted concert photos on her Facebook, with the caption, "It was lovely, but you missed our secret date for the first time, staying by her side instead." The absent Giles Beaverbrook was now frantically sending me WhatsApp messages and calls. He just realized he couldn't remember my address and could only fret helplessly through the internet. Mr. Chaplin confidently said he could tell the 2 dogs apart. His Aubrey rushed in and immediately knew where the water bowl was, while the other one seemed a bit confused. His flat was the large penthouse, much bigger than my rented studio. Whether the dogs had been there before could be easily discerned with careful observation. I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking this farce was finally coming to an end. But the next moment, the property management notified us someone in the building had contracted an infectious disease, and we'd be locked down for 48 hours. Holding the dog's leash, I found myself tearfully trapped in Mr. Chaplin's flat. Winifred, my husky, proudly shook off her collar, as if to say, "Look at me, I've even packed your spare knickers." To differentiate them, Mr. Chaplin put a tag on Aubrey. I apologetically told Mr. Chaplin I was sorry for the trouble. He looked at my CV and said I seemed quite clever, and if I worked diligently, I'd have a bright future. Being praised by the boss, I was over the moon and went to bed happily with Winifred. Then in the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of running water. My precious Winifred was standing on the kitchen counter, biting the water pipe, while Mr. Chaplin's Aubrey was dancing in the rain with her. They were quiet, not barking. But their mouths were stretched into enormous grins. In an instant, I was furious, my scalp tingling with anger, my eyes fixed on the expensive flooring soaked with water. All that money, gone to waste. My job might be over too. Call maintenance, turn off the main valve, Mr. Chaplin said expressionlessly, his voice devoid of any emotion. But I could sense it, he must be suppressing his anger to the extreme. Shortly after, the property manager knocked on the door. Wearing protective gear, she was visibly angry. Looking at me, half-soaked. Mr. Chaplin in his pajamas, looking unperturbed. And the two huskies nowhere to be seen. The manager let out a cold snort. I see. We'll send someone to fix it after the lockdown is lifted. Once in the lift, she sent a sarcastic voice message to the residents' WhatsApp group. Friendly reminder to all residents, during these special times, young couples should mind their health at night and avoid dangerous games that waste public resources. To make matters worse, I played this message out loud in front of Mr. Chaplin. Silence reigned over Cambridge this evening. I was so embarrassed I could have dug a castle with a spoon. Under Bertram Chaplin's gaze, I kept my head down and quietly typed in the WhatsApp group. Mr. Chaplin, I'll explain everything in the group right away. I'll also clean up and fix the floor. Don't bother with them, Bertram said, snatching my phone away. He sent a voice message. Burst pipe. Accelerating repairs. No further comments. Stop speculating. His low, husky voice carried a hint of roguishness. He ruffled his hair irritably and told me to go back to sleep, saying he'd take care of the rest. It's fine, really. But please let me pay for the floor repairs. I've caused too much trouble. £13,000 for repairs. Fix it if you want, transfer the money to my account. I was stunned. Bertram's eyes were blank, but his words were sharp. If you're not transferring, go to bed now. You young ones always talk too much. I grabbed Winifred by the tail and ran. Bertram was about to turn and fetch the mop when he suddenly stopped halfway, muttering, "Where's my lead? I forgot in all the rush today, haven't walked the dog yet." I froze, then asked him, "What lead?" "We're in lockdown, how can you walk the dog?" Bertram paused, then continued looking for the lead. Then, under Aubrey's eager gaze, he put it around Winifred's neck and led her towards the balcony. Bertram pointed at the area below the balcony with a serious face. "Go down by yourself, I'll pull you back up when you're done." Winifred's legs went weak. This was the 11th floor, for goodness sake. Blimey? Was he all right in the head? Had he been drinking bootleg gin? Wait a minute, could it be that he... I immediately took out my phone and checked our team's Slack, our work software. The last online time was 30 minutes ago. It's 3:30 a.m. now, he'd been working until 3 a.m.? So overtime really does make you delirious. No wonder he lost the dog last time. Mr. Chaplin. I'll walk the dog, you should go to bed. Bertram turned around quickly, his dark eyes lifeless, his movements and expressions somewhat robotic. He stared at me for a few seconds, then handed me the lead. After the walk, get a tin from the cupboard, salmon with egg yolk and walnuts, second shelf on the left. She loves it. Online meeting at 8 a.m., it's the new project you'll be following for the next 3 months. Anne. Bertram came back, his mind still hazy from overwork, yet his tongue as sharp as ever. You young people are always so soft-hearted. That boyfriend of yours, if you're not happy, break up early. Why cry? No backbone. I never thought he'd remember such a small detail. No wonder he helped me put on that act to irritate Giles Beaverbrook. Sure enough, the next day, Bertram Chaplin was back to being the polished, elegant boss, speaking eloquently in the video conference. Who would have guessed that yesterday he nearly airdropped a husky from the 11th floor? During a break in the video conference, Giles Beaverbrook thought everyone had muted their mics and stepped away from their cameras. He brazenly enlarged a PowerPoint slide while screen sharing was still on. I had no idea. He was discussing with Meredith how he'd accompany her to Derry City on the 11th. Meredith told him to make up any excuse to put me off, as the 11th marked their 50-month anniversary, which they couldn't miss. As they chatted, Meredith suddenly sent a tantalizing selfie. She withdrew it at the last second, apologizing for the slip. I couldn't help but laugh. Winifred Fairbairn ran into the room with a whimper, startling Giles into a panic. While the boss went to brew coffee, I snuck into view of his camera, holding the dog. Giles suddenly glanced over and was stunned. How are you in Mr. Chaplin's camera? Aren't you supposed to be in isolation? I replied nonchalantly, oh, sorry, wrong room. Is there a problem? Have a lovely time in Derry City with Meredith. You two seem so lovey-dovey, it must be quite the special day. Giles's face fell as he sat up straight, ready to explain. But I used Bertram's account to end his video call, my expression impassive. By the time he managed to rejoin the meeting, everyone else had returned. Only he sat there, visibly fuming about being cuckolded, yet unable to speak. Bertram gave him a cool look, pausing mid-sentence to ask, "Do you have a question?" His voice was crisp and cold. Giles's face flushed red in an instant as he hunched over, mumbling meekly, "No, no." After that day, Giles Beaverbrook kept asking for my address, saying he'd bought my favorite cake and wanted to deliver it to me. I thought for a moment, then knocked on Bertram Chaplin's door. Since we could distinguish between the two dogs, we rarely contacted each other outside of work. I considered for a bit, then said, "Salmon, avocado, walnuts, tinned food. I'll prepare them." The older man paused, removed his AirPods, and looked me up and down with narrowed eyes. "Do you need a favor?" I sheepishly scratched my head. "My boyfriend is coming to deliver something." "I was hoping you could help me, outshine him in every way." Mr. Chaplin gave me an amused look. "You're asking for my help, yet bribing the dog with tinned food?" I gritted my teeth and said earnestly, "I've been learning about pet training recently. I promise, however you manage to put Giles in his place, I can train Aubrey to be just as well-behaved and not destructive." Mr. Chaplin asked for Giles's location, and before leaving, coldly advised me, "Break up soon. Start training the dog soon." From the balcony, I watched the east gate of the estate. Mr. Chaplin and Giles met, and though I couldn't hear what was said, Giles angrily smashed the cake. On the high-definition camera, I could see his eyes were red with anger, looking both shocked and humiliated. It was incredibly satisfying to watch. I asked Mr. Chaplin what he had said to Giles. Told him you don't eat cheap, low-quality cakes. And that you don't like dating classless men. Asked if he's richer than me, better looking than me, more educated than me. Told him to stop trying to steal my woman. I was utterly surprised, but Bertram calmly put on his AirPods and pointed inside the house. "Been in an all-night meeting with some foreigners, and still have to deal with you lot's schoolyard romances. Satisfied now? Take the dog for a walk, I haven't had time to do it for days." I immediately mimed zipping my lips and grabbed Aubrey's leash. "No worries, boss. I won't breathe a word, and I'll make sure the dog's well-trained. You carry on." As soon as I got home, Giles's WhatsApp message pinged. He said he truly cared for me, treasured me, but I had cheated on him. He and Meredith were just online friends, and I was being paranoid and distrustful. He suggested we take some time to cool off. I switched to Facebook and saw that a few hours ago, Meredith had posted 2 plane tickets to Derry City. With the caption, "Life's greatest moments are never missed when I'm with you." I immediately messaged Giles, "I'll apologize if you want, let's go on a trip together." After a while, Giles replied, "Babe, I'm really upset this time." "Damn, I said I wouldn't call you babe anymore." "Oh well, let's just take a few days to ourselves." That message nearly made me sick. I booked a trendy ski resort for the summer bank holiday. But on the first day at the resort, I ran into Giles with the clingy, overly familiar Meredith by his side. Giles's face visibly changed, and he instinctively pushed Meredith away. "Elsie, what are you doing here? You must be Miss Gower? I've heard so much about you from my silly brother. He says you're a very gentle girlfriend, and he loves you dearly. I've also heard your boss is quite fond of you, taking special care of you. Perhaps you could teach me your secrets sometime?" I let out a cold laugh, silently watching her performance. Meredith confidently linked arms with Giles. Don't worry, I might need to borrow your boyfriend today. We've had a last-minute change of plans, you don't mind, do you? I blinked innocently. Feel free to use the cheap goods, I won't be heartbroken if you take him away. Giles suddenly became furious, pushing Meredith away and pointing at me. Don't think I don't know about you and Mr. Chaplin. He's right over there strapping on his skis. We haven't even broken up yet, and you're already on a sweet date with him? He was quick to turn the tables. I wasn't angry. Instead, I smiled and asked Meredith, I thought you two had already bought tickets to Derry City. How come suddenly? You're not worried about what might happen between us at the ski resort, are you? Giles, you're still so jealous, it's quite amusing. Meredith instantly looked at Giles with puppy eyes. Didn't you say you didn't want to go to Derry City anymore, that you'd rather go skiing? How come? Giles was at a loss for words. Elsie Harmsworth? I heard the old man's voice in my head, secretly delighted. I quickly turned and ran towards him. Coming. Did you miss me already after just a short while? Halfway there, I suddenly stopped. Bertram was surrounded by a group of people, all looking to be in their 30s or 40s. I swallowed hard, lowered my head as I walked over, and called out loudly, Mr. Chaplin. Here's our new recruit. Come say hello. Bertram Chaplin introduced me this way. The people around us smiled politely but distantly, then continued their conversation. I pretended to listen quietly, showing no intention of leaving. A few people gave me odd looks. I forced a dry laugh, trying to hide my discomfort. I waited until Meredith Gower walked past arm in arm with Giles Beaverbrook, and only after they were far away did I say goodbye to Bertram Chaplin. Except for him, everyone thought the new girl was strange. They got on the ski lift and left. Before leaving, Bertram Chaplin looked back at me thoughtfully. Soon after, Meredith and Giles also boarded the lift. Meredith asked me with a grin, why did they leave you behind? It's so odd that they've all gone. Could it be they don't like you? Oh, I'm just guessing. We're off now. I felt my eyes stinging with angry tears, but I kept my head down and said nothing. The main issue was that I couldn't ski and hadn't bought a lift pass. I just wanted to build a snowman and take photos. Who knew they'd all take the lift? It was too late to buy a ticket now. Frustrated, I bought an ice cream and crouched at the edge of the ski slope playing games on my phone until it got dark. To make matters worse, I kept losing. The moment I put down my phone, I burst into tears, not knowing why I'd even come to the ski resort. The next second, I heard a man's voice from across the way. Is crying really necessary every time something goes wrong? I truly didn't know you were coming. I had a business meeting to sign a contract with a friend today. It really wasn't convenient to bring you along. Has your boyfriend upset you again? Why don't you break up with him? Come on, get up. I've been looking for you for ages. Do you want to ride the lift or go skiing? I've arranged a private hour for you, go and enjoy yourself. I looked at him blankly. In the next moment, the ski resort, which had already closed for the day, lit up again, and the lift started humming back to life. Bertram Chaplin walked slowly towards me, carrying 2 snowboards. In his eyes, reflecting the twinkling lights, I saw only my own image. At that moment, I felt my heart racing. I don't want to ski, I can't ski. I just wanted to build a snowman. I'm crying because I've been playing games all afternoon and kept losing. It's frustrating. Bertram Chaplin sighed, tossed aside his snowboard, and sat down next to me, pulling out his mobile. All right then, I've only got an hour. If I team up with you, we can probably get in 2 matches. We work at a game company, and Bertram has a technical background. I hadn't realized he was good at this too. He carried me through the game, dominating the match. Just as we were about to finish, I impulsively asked him, do you like me? Bertram paused for a moment, then replied in a calm voice, I don't date schoolgirls. I retorted angrily, well, I don't want to date old men either. As soon as the words left my mouth, the lights began to dim slowly. Our hour was up. Then sort things out with your boyfriend, and stop making me deal with schoolgirl romance drama. Bertram brushed the snow off his clothes and walked away without looking back. Also, just to remind you, as a friend, neighbor, or boss, I can help you out of sticky situations. But if this drags on and becomes a big issue, either he goes, or you go, or both of you go. My department doesn't carry dead weight, and office romances aren't good for a newcomer like you. After he left, I stood there thinking for a long while, then sent a message to Giles Beaverbrook. The resort had evening activities, and I ran into Giles on the outdoor terrace of the upscale restaurant. He was wearing a matching couple's hoodie and holding an elegantly wrapped rose, looking excited. I got straight to the point, we're breaking up. Don't contact me again. Giles was taken aback for a moment, then a sarcastic smile spread across his face. Oh, I see. Cozying up to that old man Bertram Chaplin has paid off, has it? You want to break up, do you? I warned him with a blank expression, we both know who cheated. While I'm still in a good mood, get lost. Otherwise, neither of you will have a good time. Giles had experienced my temper before. His lips twitched slightly as he turned to leave. I have a clear conscience. I have nothing to fear. Fine, let's break up then. I got what I wanted, a clean break from that scumbag. But I still cried. I wanted to go back a year and slap myself, to never waste my youth on this cheater's supposed true feelings. How could there be such men in the world? People were coming and going on the outdoor terrace, and I'm sure plenty of diners in the posh restaurant were staring at me like I was mad. I wiped my tears and walked away with my head down. Back at the resort, Meredith was happily taking photos of the roses. When Giles saw me come in, he spoke even louder to the rose seller, I'll take all of these. The roses were specially prepared for the hotel's event. To create a good impression, the waiter said with a smile, that's £15 per rose, sir. We have 250 roses in total here. Please swipe your card. I had intended to walk past quickly, but after hearing this, I stopped. I looked at Giles Beaverbrook with a smirk, you two are so in love, aren't you? Splashing out for her like that. Giles's face turned as red as a beetroot. Under the delighted gazes of Meredith and the waiter, he shakily reached into his next pocket. Sorry, I forgot my card. I'll go back. I quickly interjected, you can use contactless payment, can't you? Don't tell me you can't afford it. The waiter, accustomed to seeing big spenders, promptly brought over the card machine. By now, Giles was sweating profusely. My phone's dead. Another time, perhaps. With that, he grabbed Meredith's hand and dashed into the lift without looking back. I was thoroughly enjoying this. As luck would have it, his and Meredith's room was right next to mine. We bumped into each other again as we entered our rooms. The sound of a small trolley echoed down the corridor, getting closer, and the scent of roses grew stronger. The waiter caught up, pushing cart after cart of roses. Meredith squealed with delight, oh, you naughty boy. You did buy them for me after all? That's quite dashing of you, darling. I'm smitten. Meredith tried to throw herself at Giles, but the waiter gently pushed her aside, delivering all the flowers to my door instead. These are all for Miss Elsie Harmsworth. Mr. Bertram Chaplin also asked us to convey a message in person. Are you available now? I smiled, of course, and how convenient that my friends are here to listen too. Giles's face turned ashen, while Meredith, embarrassed, slammed their door shut. Several waiters gathered around me in a circle, applauding in unison as they delivered the elegant three-word message, good riddance, indeed. At 2 a.m, Bertram Chaplin was speaking irritably in my room. Before he could finish, we heard a loud banging on the door. Elsie Harmsworth, is this really necessary? A man and a woman alone in a room at 2 a.m. Are you deliberately letting me hear this? If you want to get intimate, go back to your place, don't make me sick. Giles Beaverbrook must have taken something wrong again. Bertram, already grumpy from being woken up, stormed to the door and opened it, berating Giles. Are you mental? Do I need your permission to date someone? You're asking what we're discussing? We're talking about bringing a new life into this world. You're just a boy who hasn't even grown his first whiskers, what would you know? I peeked out and saw Giles standing at the door, wiping away tears. Meredith was desperately tugging at his clothes. Before leaving, Giles finally retorted, don't look down on me, a man is always young at heart. Bertram's face darkened as he turned to me and said in a low voice, I should sack both of you, always causing trouble. I'm innocent. It's Winifred who messed up, or maybe you're Aubrey. Because of the ski trip, I had enrolled our 2 huskies in a short-term pet training camp, spending a fortune of £888 for a 3-day intensive course. They promised the dogs would at least learn to roll over and shake hands. Even if they didn't learn anything, I thought it would be good for them to be around other posh dogs for a bit. Who would have thought that on the first day, the instructor called me in tears saying the 2 had escaped their kennels and got friendly with a female dog. The female dog was in heat, so pregnancy was certain. They told me to be prepared to take responsibility. The problem was, the huskies had lost their tags, so they couldn't tell which one was the father. I felt the situation was serious, which is why I notified Bertram in the middle of the night. Bertram, eager to go back to sleep, concluded, what else can we do? If she's pregnant, let her have the puppies. It's not like we can't afford it. The next second, we heard the sound of a glass shattering next door, followed by Giles' despairing sobs. What a rubbish room you're staying in. Is it a dormitory? 2 people talking in the room and 4 can hear everything crystal clear. It's so annoying, Bertram grumbled. I whispered, well, boss, why don't you upgrade my room then? I managed to book a standard room, which obviously isn't as nice as your deluxe suite. Bertram Chaplin gave me a cool glance, signaling with his eyes for me to follow him. He then led me to his room. It was either sleep on the sofa or go back to the shared room to continue sleeping. I looked at him with a pitiful expression. You bought those roses, surely helping your dear employee upgrade her room wouldn't cost much more. I'll pay for the upgrade myself if I have to. The older man sneered, the roses were a consolation prize because I saw you crying. Guess why you had to fight for a standard room? It's peak season, there are no deluxe suites left for you to stay in. I was momentarily speechless as Bertram brought out pillows and blankets from the bedroom. So, you really did see me in that posh restaurant? It was so dark and crowded, how did you manage to spot me? I asked. Bertram replied sarcastically, among all those glittering socialites, you were the one crying the ugliest. You even scared my business associates. How could I not notice? Cry, cry, cry. That's all you ever do. My 10-year-old niece doesn't cry as much as you do. I threw a pillow at him. Is your mouth for hire? Will you die if you don't criticize people? Yes, I'll die. I'll suffocate if I don't wake you up with some harsh words. Bertram coldly walked back to the bedroom and shut the door firmly. I was about to retort when suddenly, a sharp pain gripped my stomach. I scrambled to the toilet, practically crawling. I must have eaten too much ice cream in the afternoon and then sat in the snow, catching a chill. That night, I struggled back and forth between the toilet and the sofa. By the end, I was so weak from diarrhea that I could barely walk. I collapsed on the thick sofa, not knowing when I fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of a woman's voice. There's definitely a woman in your room. I saw her. Long hair on the pillow. What do you mean, just a colleague? Would you let an ordinary colleague sleep in your bed? Bring your phone over here. Let Mum see. I want to know what little minx is in your bed. I snapped awake in confusion. How did I end up sleeping in Bertram's bed? Why was his video call on? How did his mother see me? In an instant, my mind raced with thoughts of parents catching us in the act. As a good employee, I had to help the boss out of this situation. I scrambled off the bed, found the phone on the table, and positioned myself confidently and casually, slowly appearing in the frame. Hello, ma'am. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Bertram's niece. We're not that kind of relationship. As soon as I said it, I desperately wanted to go back 5 seconds in time. The woman was also stunned, and after a moment said, Oh, so, you're my granddaughter then? Bertram walked in carrying takeaway, looking like he was about to faint from shock. I silently moved out of the frame, biting my fist and crying soundlessly. How embarrassing. Bertram Chaplin ended the video call, his gaze flicking towards me. Thank you for finding my mom a granddaughter. Next time, don't talk nonsense. If you're feeling unwell, go to the hospital. Last night I thought there was a corpse lying on the sofa, with blood trailing from the loo to the sofa. I calculated my menstrual cycle and immediately blushed. Opening the takeaway bag, inside was Imodium for diarrhea and a pack of sanitary pads. After a moment's consideration, I spoke up. I'd better compensate you, boss. I've caused too much trouble. Bertram turned and walked out of the bedroom. Just transfer £10,000 to my account for now. I choked back a sob, curling up under the duvet and whispering, do you think I'm worth 10 grand? Just take me as compensation, I usually keep my money in my kidneys. That works too. What did he mean? Was he joking or? I wanted to ask more, but Bertram had already left the room. Not long after, room service brought in breakfast. Apparently, Bertram had ordered it, telling me to eat before leaving. For a moment, I felt my mind going blank again. He really wasn't a bad person after all. Did he really not like me? When checking out, I was pale, moving slowly, and seemed rather weak. Giles Beaverbrook happened to see me. He immediately let go of Meredith and gripped my arm tightly, asking, is he really that good? He doesn't care about your health at all. I was tired of it. He was like a piece of toffee I couldn't shake off. I simply snapped, can you just sod off? I enjoy it, what's it to you? Giles seemed to have taken a massive blow, stepping back several paces and glaring at me with reddened eyes. Then, on my first day back at work, he secretly slipped me several boxes of prenatal vitamins, swallowing his pride to say, he doesn't truly love you. Take care of yourself, don't make me worry. The boxes were crumpled, with large text saying things like blood tonic and women's health, looking like £1 bargains from Poundland, which made me laugh in exasperation. I've been thinking for a while, don't worry, I'm not a petty man. I won't reveal your relationship. Giles crouched beside my desk, his voice low. But he's not a good man. You're pregnant, yet he makes you wear high heels to work. If it were me, I wouldn't have the heart to do that. I immediately kicked off my high heels. Then why don't you get me a pair of flats? There's a Gucci store downstairs, just buy me a pair? Giles' expression changed slightly. He stood up and left without a word. I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. Suddenly, an idea struck me, and I sent Bertram a message. LOL, Giles said you're not a good man, making me wear high heels to work while pregnant. Thinking it might be inappropriate, I deleted it and replaced it with, my feet hurt, high heels are so uncomfortable. Bertram replied instantly with 3 words, I saw that. My heart skipped a beat, and I instinctively dropped my phone. This doesn't count as harassing my boss, does it? Just before the end of the workday, Giles came with a pair of flats from some express delivery, wanting to help me change into them. The next second, Bertram called us both into his office. On the floor were several pairs of Gucci flats for me to choose from. Deliberately showing Giles. Bertram signed documents, not even looking up as he said to Giles, see that? Put that energy into your work instead of always trying to steal my girl. How much were they? Let's expense it through the company, I'll approve it for you. Giles' eyes reddened again. He pinched the back of his hand hard, holding back tears as he said, you don't love her. She's not right for you. I changed into the shoes and bumped into his shoulder. If you don't like it, you can quit. Move aside, don't keep me from my antenatal checkup. Bertram paused for a moment, then nodded resignedly. It is indeed an antenatal checkup. Today is the day we agreed to take our daughter-in-law for her pregnancy checkup. After waiting a full week, the Royal Veterinary Hospital finally gave us the diagnosis, the little female dog is pregnant. Dad can't tell who the father is. As parents, we'd better take the initiative and be sincere, so we can give an explanation to the little female dog's owners. According to the news, the owner of the little female dog is returning from a business trip today, and we're preparing to visit them to apologize. On the way to the hospital, I kept thinking and finally asked Bertram Chaplin, has today's incident caused you any trouble? I've been sending you messages, wasting your time. What does mean? Are you angry or not? I took a deep breath and said, this can't go on in the long run. If it really doesn't work out, let's part ways. Bertram Chaplin looked at me a few more times at the red light, his eyes calm with a hint of coldness. Open you up? That's fine, it's something you would do. Wake up, of course, it's about firing him. Why should I leave? My grades at school are better than his. My professional skills are stronger, I work more efficiently, of course, he should be fired. Bertram parked the car, the corner of his lips curling into a faint smile. Not bad, you've improved. What does this mean? Is he praising me or being sarcastic? The vet was holding the little female dog, followed by its owner. A wave of high-end perfume hit us as they approached. I took a closer look. Oh, isn't this Bertram's ex-girlfriend? So the pregnant poodle belongs to her. Wait, wasn't her poodle a male? The ex-girlfriend clung coquettishly to Bertram's side, pointing her index finger at her little nose. Bertram, I think this is heaven's arrangement. Now that she's pregnant, you're not going to shirk responsibility, are you? Bertram said with a serious face, the doctor should have told you, I'm here to discuss terminating the pregnancy. The size difference between the two dogs is too great, we shouldn't take this risk. The ex-girlfriend explained in a coy voice, Mabel will be fine, she'll safely give birth to a son for the Chaplin family. Bertram finally turned to me in exasperation, while pushing away his ex-girlfriend with one hand. If I remember correctly, your dog is male. Is this really your dog? If it were before, I would have definitely rushed in to help the boss out of this situation. But now... His ex-girlfriend was dressed head to toe in designer brands, her figure accentuated, delicate and pretty, with long, wavy hair like a movie star. Compared to her, I have no advantages whatsoever, just like a primary school student. How could I possibly interfere in their adult affairs? If his ex-girlfriends are all of this caliber, it would be strange if he looked at me. I remained silent. Bertram looked at me several times, his expression growing colder, his anger rising, and finally said to me in an irrefutable tone, Are you still watching? Have you gone mute? What, are you going to hand over your man without a fight? My heart skipped a beat. After a moment's hesitation, I rushed forward and clung to Bertram Chaplin's arm. Head lowered, I said nothing but gently pushed his ex-girlfriend away. A satisfied chuckle sounded from above my head. No way. You too. Are you serious, Bertram? There's over a decade between you, isn't there? You're just playing with her, right? I retorted without much confidence, it's only 8 years. I don't mind that he's older. Bertram reached around and pinched my waist hard, making me wince and cry out. I like him, all right? It's none of your business. We've broken up, so why don't you just sod off? Bertram's lips curled into a smirk as he rubbed my waist soothingly. That's right, darling. I like you too. Though I knew he was just putting on a show for his ex, my heart raced faster, and my ears, red as beetroot, lightly pressed against his arm. You can't be serious. How did you two meet? How long have you been together? Have you? Bertram frowned and cut her off, nosy Parker. Why are you so interested in my private life? How did your little dog get pregnant anyway? The ex-girlfriend was momentarily lost for words. She tightened her grip on the leash, her gaze darting about. As soon as she heard she could be associated with Bertram Chaplin, she had spent a fortune buying this little poodle. Apparently, the little male dog had been tossed aside long ago. So, the ex-girlfriend straightened her back and said, Never mind how it got pregnant. This pup is yours, and you need to take responsibility. Take it for a prenatal checkup first. A few days later, Giles Beaverbrook mysteriously whispered to me, Mr. Chaplin doesn't love you. He's taking another woman for a prenatal checkup. I heard it with my own ears. You've been deceived. I snorted coldly, watching his performance. Giles pushed his homemade lunchbox in front of me. Eat up, pregnant women need to stay in good spirits. So, what else did you hear? Giles eagerly served me some food, they're going for a checkup tonight. He's so sneaky, who knows how many women he's fooled. I took out my phone, opened Meredith's Facebook page, and showed it to him. Aren't you two timing right now as well? Meredith had posted a lonely selfie, hinting at spending the holiday alone, her boyfriend nowhere to be seen. Giles's face changed slightly. Talking about others when you're no better yourself. Have you taken a good look in the mirror? You've got some nerve bringing me lunch. I kicked Giles and took a photo of him, sending it to Meredith. Your dog is lounging around here. Come and fetch him soon. When I saw Bertram after work, I blurted out as I sat in the passenger seat, I heard you got someone pregnant? Bertram frowned deeply, his sunglasses almost sliding off his nose. He unbuckled his seatbelt and reached over to feel my stomach. No, it's flat. My face turned bright red as I clutched my stomach. Be serious. Giles Beaverbrook heard you were going to accompany someone for a prenatal checkup and was talking badly about you. That's why I asked. Bertram Chaplin raised an eyebrow, his smile growing. You know where I spend my time every day, don't you? Why do you sound so jealous when you mention accompanying someone for a checkup? I'm not jealous, I mumbled, sneaking a glance at Bertram in the rearview mirror. His usually stern face wore a faint smile, and our eyes met, his gaze filled with a heart-stopping tenderness. At that moment, I knew I liked him. How's the husky training going recently? They've been quite quiet. I want to resign, I interrupted. The smile faded from Bertram's face as he asked, for what reason? Looking out the window, I explained, my parents are abroad, and I had previously applied to schools overseas. I thought I hadn't been accepted, which is why I found this job. Recently, my supervisor contacted me again, and I want to continue my studies. The car fell silent. Bertram frowned briefly before asking, is there anything else? I like you. It's not responsible to work together in this state. I turned to face him, my entire demeanor radiating seriousness. Did you hear me clearly? I like you. So, how do you feel about me? Do you want to date me? Bertram found an open space to park the car. Gripping the steering wheel. He was silent for a while before speaking. You're only 25 this year, and you want to continue studying. I burst into tears, accusing him, I don't mind that you're older, but you think I'm too young? Don't you just fancy those curvy supermodels? Am I not good enough for you because I look like a schoolgirl? Fine then. I don't fancy an old man like you either. I'll go find some young, fit lads to date. I'll date 8 of them, each younger and more. Before I could finish, Bertram Chaplin cupped my face with one hand and silenced me with a butterfly kiss on my lips. You wouldn't dare. I've already given you my answer. Do I need to say it again? If I didn't like you, I wouldn't do things that could be misunderstood. You're just a child who still needs to study. Always crying, and at 20-something already talking about marriage. Have you really thought this through? I wiped my tears, unfastened my seatbelt, and threw myself at him. I'm sticking with you. I'll be the boss's wife while you're young, and when you're old, I'll inherit your fortune. Where else could I find such a good deal? I heard Bertram's muffled laughter from above. He wrapped his arms around my waist, and the rest of his words were lost in a passionate kiss. Everything around us fell silent. I'm not sure if you've thought it all through. If you want to date someone new, I'll prepare a dowry for you. If I can't win you over, I at least want to make sure my little girl isn't struggling out there. I started laughing, but tears began to flow. I grabbed his wallet and said, then give me the dowry now. Were you never going to confess to me if I didn't speak up? And you said you wouldn't date a schoolgirl. Bertram patiently wiped my tears. I was insecure before. I was afraid of holding back a young person like you. Is that good enough? Do you want money? All my money is attached to my kidneys, so you might as well take me whole. I burst into tears again, grabbed his hand, and shoved it into my pocket. Now you're mine. Later, I decided to go back to university after all. My parents and Bertram thought that money wasn't an issue, and education should be the priority. On my last day at work, Meredith suddenly burst into the office, causing a scene. Meredith's real name is Meredith Gower, but she likes to act like one of the lads and insists everyone call her Gower. She had printed photos of me with Bertram Chaplin, chat logs between Giles Beaverbrook and me, and receipts of things Giles had bought for me. She stormed from the reception to the office area, accusing me of two-timing. She claimed I was having an affair with the boss. She even accused me of being pregnant. Giles was so overwhelmed he hid in the loo, playing dead. I had just finished handing over all my work, so I grabbed a bag of crisps and squatted next to Meredith, munching away. Meredith, exasperated, pointed at me and said, "Don't you dare look so smug. Gold diggers like you should be sacked, trending on Twitter, and face severe public punishment." I spat a crisp right onto her shoe and retorted, "So you think Giles is completely innocent? He's a saint, is he?" Meredith's face changed slightly, but she insisted, "Of course he's a good man. We're truly in love. You're the shameless one who's been seducing him. Are you blind? He's poor and pathetic, skinny as a chicken. How is he better than my Bertram? Why would I fancy your rubbish when I've got a catch like him?" Meredith smugly pointed at me, addressing the crowd of onlookers. "Did you all hear that? She seduced your boss. Office romance. No wonder she got that big tech offer with a high salary. She slept her way to the top." My former colleague's expressions changed instantly. I couldn't hold back anymore. I slapped Meredith hard across the face and grabbed her hair, slamming her against the lift doors. Meredith screamed in terror. "It's because of lying trolls like you that so many innocent girls' reputations get ruined. Show me your evidence. If you can't, get on your knees and apologize." The watching ex-colleagues were too scared to speak. Bertram appeared out of nowhere, firmly grasping my wrist. Countless curious eyes were on us, some even sneakily taking photos with their phones. I panicked and shouted, "Stop staring. I've already left, so it's not an office romance. I got in fair and square through the interview." Bertram put his arm around me and calmly explained, "Since everyone's here, let me formally introduce you. This is my wife." I pursued her. The young lady wanted to continue her studies, so I had her resign last month. From now on, you can address her as the boss's wife. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd as Meredith Gower's face drained of color. In the next moment, Giles Beaverbrook burst out of the loo and, without a word, delivered a resounding slap across her face. "Disgraceful. Can't you stop making scenes at my company? You're embarrassing yourself," he bellowed. After his outburst, he himself broke into tears, leaving Meredith utterly stunned by the slap. We were all left dumbfounded. This was probably the bravest moment of Giles Beaverbrook's life. As I was about to join in the gossip, I suddenly received a call from the Royal Veterinary Hospital. The vet said, "Your daughter-in-law is hemorrhaging badly. Come quickly. We need to decide whether to save the mother or the puppies." Dog's life hanging in the balance, the old chap postponed the meeting, and we rushed to the Royal Veterinary Hospital. At the door of the operating theater, his ex-girlfriend, tears streaming down her face, trembled as she said to Bertram, "Don't worry, we'll save the puppies. This is the bloodline of your Chaplin family. I'll fight to the death to keep them." I irritably snapped at her, "It's a dog's life, not yours. What death are you fighting? This litter shouldn't be kept. How much suffering will the poor bitch endure?" The ex-girlfriend wept and whimpered, insisting she had good intentions, wanting to preserve the family bloodline. Meanwhile, she kept buying strong life-sustaining injections for the little bitch, one after another. The vet tried to dissuade her but to no avail, sweating profusely in frustration. Bertram Chaplin got a cup of scalding hot water from the water cooler and thrust it at his ex-girlfriend. "Drink this and shut your gob. Stop talking rubbish." The ex-girlfriend's face turned green with anger. Soon after, the operating theater doors opened, and the vet shook his head regretfully. Both mother and puppies were lost. The size difference between a husky and a poodle was so obvious, but unfortunately, the little bitch belonged to the ex-girlfriend. The vet had to listen to the owner, and in the end, the dog was painfully dragged to its death. The ex-girlfriend's face turned ashen. I was shaking with anger. "Are you satisfied now? Stop harassing my son and my man in the future." With that, I grabbed Bertram Chaplin's hand and stormed off. As we stepped out of the Royal Veterinary Hospital, Bertram let out a few soft chuckles. "So fierce, are you always this temperamental, little one?" I stopped abruptly, turned back to glare at him with reddened eyes. That was a life, you know. How could we let her wreak such havoc? Bertram bent down and ruffled the top of my head. Seeing no cars around, he suddenly wrapped his arm around my waist, lifted me up, and held me close to comfort me. My face turned bright red. I pretended to grip his neck threateningly. Even my mom stopped carrying me like this when I was 6. It's so embarrassing. In the shadow of the streetlight, Bertram's long dark lashes lowered, his thin lips curving into a beautiful arc. No, you're my fairy tale. And when a fairy tale cries, it needs to be comforted. What a mess. Let's get them neutered when we get back, so they won't harm any more little bitches. At this moment, the mischievous Winifred Fairbairn and Aubrey Cargill simultaneously shuddered. I clapped my hands together. What a brilliant decision. Dogs can hold grudges, so Bertram Chaplin and I planned a little scheme. We needed someone to play the role of the evil neutering villain. My parents and brother were all on holiday abroad, so they couldn't help. Bertram's father was away on business, but we arranged with his mother to kidnap our 2 huskies on Monday, knock them out, and take them to the Royal Veterinary Hospital for neutering. And so, my first meeting with his mother was rather rushed. Remembering the previous misunderstanding, I was a bit nervous. When I saw her, I bowed and said loudly, "Hello, Mrs. Chaplin." "I'm not his niece." Mrs. Chaplin's mouth twitched with laughter for a moment before she took Bertram's hand and said earnestly, "Tell me honestly, son. Did you bring her home because she's a bit simple?" I laughed awkwardly and said quietly, "Mrs. Chaplin, I'm still within earshot. Shall I move further away so you can continue?" Before I left, she pressed a jade bracelet into my hand. "I like honest, cheerful girls. Do come round for tea sometime." Later, Bertram explained that the bracelet was a family heirloom. The dog's surgeries finished around the same time. As they came out of anesthesia, they were unusually energetic, tugging at their leads towards home. We passed by someone's garden wedding, and in a moment of distraction, they disappeared. My heart raced. This was someone's wedding. I couldn't afford to pay for any damages. During the bouquet toss, amid the chaos, our 2 huskies burst through the crowd. They snatched the bouquet and bounded towards me, their tails wagging like propellers as they circled around me. Bertram cleared his throat and chuckled, "Looks like the dogs are hinting at marriage." What a coincidence. I happened to have a pair of rings in my pocket. Care to try one on? This sudden proposal caught me off guard. Bertram was wearing casual white clothes, and he slowly opened the box to reveal an exquisite diamond ring. Seeing my hesitation, Bertram made as if to put the ring away. I immediately lunged forward and grabbed it. "You can't take it back now that you've offered." "Of course I'll wear it." Bertram smiled at me tenderly, took my hand, opened the box, and carefully slid the ring onto my ring finger. "This is just an engagement ring. After putting it on, you'll have many chances to change your mind. You can back out while studying abroad, or if you meet your true love someday, or if you're not satisfied after meeting my parents. But wearing it should keep other lads at bay, stop them from eyeing up my girl." I gazed at him, suddenly grinning. I grabbed his hand firmly and quickly slipped the men's ring onto his ring finger. "Now that you're wearing my ring, you can't back out. You're stuck with me for life. Until death do us part, your money's only for me to spend." Bertram's eyes were full of affection, clearly reflecting my image. In the dazzling fireworks, he slowly leaned down and kissed me.